Right?
Now I'm joined by the other half of Witch Watch, being Anna Neighbours and Rory Donovan. Rory and Austin and Derek got to know each other when Monica the Plant and Murder Shoes were touring together. Is that correct?
Pretty much. We played a few shows with Murder Shoes and just kind of hit it off, and then eventually ended up touring together. But
Yeah.
we were kind of like fast friends though. Like we played together and we're like, oh, this is cool.
The Turf Club, it turns out, was the context where you and Austin simultaneously joined the band. Is that?
That's when we signed on for this thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just meeting Anna for the first time. Nice to meet you, Anna.
Nice to meet you.
How did you get to meet Derek, and at what stage and in what context did you get involved in the project?
Well, Derek and I worked together at the Red Stag, so we met there.
Good place to work.
Yeah, great place. Didn't really know him. We hardly worked shifts together. But one day he came up to me, he's like, so, I heard you can sing, and I want to do a side project. Are you interested? I was like, sure. I like music.
So how did this rumour that you could sing work its way around the Red Stag Supper Club?
Well, I had just recently joined another band,
Oh, wow.
doing some backup vocals, and we had just had our first show, and Derek heard about it.
Do you still sing with the other band too?
I do, yeah.
What's the other band?
It's called Flower Stalks.
Oh, that's a nice
Yeah.
name. So what kind of style is that? Is that similar to Witch Watch? Or?
Not at all.
No.
It's more folky.
And had you been in other musical projects prior to Flower Stock? Is that what it's called? Flower Stock?
Flower Stalks.
Yeah.
No, I had not. I sang with my sister a lot, played some piano, but I had never been in a band at all.
Yeah.
Never really thought I would be
And
in
now
one.
you find yourself in two.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
And you're the main vocalist in one of them. What happened that led to you, first of all, playing with the other band, and how did you find yourself as a backing vocalist in the other band?
Well, my brother is a bassist in that band, and good friends with the main guy, and his wife used to do backup vocals, but she had babies, was a bit busy, didn't want to do it anymore,
Yeah.
so my sister and I joined as
Yeah.
backup vocals.
So from spouses to siblings.
Yep.
Yeah. Is your brother Jonathan,
Yes.
who's also been involved in the recording of the record? I was going to ask whether the Neighbours were siblings.
Yes.
The Neighbours are siblings. Jonathan Neighbours, alongside Derek and Noel Tate, have been tracking the record. Yeah. And then we have Anna Neighbours. Initially then, there was the duo Witch Watch before there was the four-piece.
Yes.
Yeah. And Derek was saying in the interview with him that he referred to you as both the voice of reason, which would suggest that sometimes you do have some suggestions as to which songs to go with and what to do with each song. But he also said that he was surprised at how willing you were to go with some of the more quirky ideas, perhaps. that he didn't think-
Honestly, I have been kind of surprised with myself. Well, I love the weird songs that he throws at me.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
And that you
you
throw-
all will get to hear them someday.
Yeah, and they ricochet back, but with your vocals.
So yeah, he'll send me songs, and I'll open the email and I'll read the lyrics. I'm like, can I do this? I'll listen to it and I'll practice a few times. Yeah. Yep. I can do this. Like, go to his house, have a couple glasses of wine,
Yeah.
demo it, and it's great.
The example that Derek gave when I was pressing him to say what were the ones that you were most surprised by was 2/5, which is the castration song. You get them by email. You get the songs and the lyrics written.
Usually.
Written
Yep.
it, yeah?
Yep.
Can you remember a particular time when you open the lyric sheet and you're doubtful? You're doubtful that you'll stick with that particular.
Well, I'm always open-minded, just because he has not failed me yet.
It's going well so far.
going great.
Neither has failed the other.
Well, yeah, 2/5. I was like, well, maybe we'll keep that line. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised it made it, but I have a lot of fun singing it.
Yeah.
Opening up Gummy Sack, that one was so absurd. It took me a minute. Love it.
Yeah, I love it too. If your ears haven't seen or your eyes haven't heard my kingdom of records, then I'll give you the bird. And then it continues to talk about giving someone milk and what is it? What's the food?
Feeding them burritos.
Burritos, which is neato.
It is neat.
And then I've got everything you need, and you do have everything that the band needs, including willingness to sing these lyrics. Is that exactly what you read when Derek emailed you the lyrics then for Gummy Sack? There's been no alteration. That's exactly.
I believe that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Have there been any songs where you did find yourself suggesting a change to the lyrics, and if so, what and why?
Not yet. I don't think so.
It's a challenge for Derek.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. We are discussing a new song where we might do a little changing, but it's undecided, so.
Are you comfortable with the lyrical content, Rory?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm a big fan of lyric.
I'm a big fan of the lyrical
Yeah.
content too.
So whimsical. You gotta love it.
You've been a fan of Murder Shoes
Right.
for some time.
Oh yeah.
What's your sense of the relationship lyrically and or musically even before you got involved? Did you feel that there was a difference in Derek's songwriting with this newer batch of songs?
I mean, I think it just kind of gave him a little room to be a little like weirder and
Yeah.
a little darker, a little
Yeah.
you know, like just I don't know. A lot of the Murder Shoe stuff is pretty kind of polished, and it's because there's it's being filtered through. There's 5 different people who are all sort of
Yeah.
checking these ideas, and this is just like just gave him a little bit more room to kind of get weird with it.
Yeah.
And he did. So, but there's a thread that you hear that in the Murder Shoes, like girls named Benji.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like
Girls
that's sort
Named
of
Benji.
absurd, and there's like just like a vibe that like you kind of can feel in both projects, I think.
Yeah, Girls Named Benji, which was a single, I believe. Yeah. So from Girls Named Benji to lots of different things called Tony.
Yeah.
There seemed to be like quite the connection between, like sonically, Girls Named Benji and Insect Funeral are not totally
Sure.
different. And then there's this idea of things being called things. The idea of there being plural girls all called Benji is a little bit whimsical, but then the fact that all of these things are called Tony is more whimsical, I would say. So what's called Tony in the song Insect Funeral?
Oh, we have a giant boot.
Giant boots, yeah. There's a newspaper.
A bloody newspaper.
A bloody newspaper that's also called Tony.
And a light bulb.
Yeah.
What are the chances?
Exactly.
No.
And they were all at the insect funeral.
Yep.
And once we get to the insect funeral, Pamela is there, and she's dirty.
She is.
And what else is dirty? The supervisor's there, he's also dirty. But the restroom is perfect. No dirt in that restroom. What did you think when those lyrics came?
Actually, this that was the first song that Derek told me about.
So at work, is this before you've heard any of the music? When
Yeah.
is this in the initial conversation? I have a band, I hear that you sing in a band. Will you sing my lyrics?
Yeah, so he told me he had a side project, and then he gave me a whole bunch of mix CDs, his inspirations.
Demos that ended up being some of these songs.
Some demos, yep. And then we got a drink one night, and I remember him telling me about a ridiculous song that he wrote and how the bathroom was perfect. It's like, yeah, that's great. Yeah, he was
How
just
did he first talk about the perfect bathroom?
he was just reciting all the lines,
Yeah.
telling me, I think he wanted to show me that he's a little weird, wanted to see that I was on board with it.
Yeah. That was the first of many tests, all of which you
Yeah.
passed with flying colours.
I was a little nervous.
How does it feel being, is it fair to say the front person then? Derek's primary songwriter, but you're the main vocalist.
Main vocalist,
So yeah, you've got multiple new shoes to wear, if that's a metaphor. Being the main vocalist on the record, but then also being the front person live. Are you excited to play out with this project?
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's all very new for me, which is great. I'm learning a lot.
Yeah. There are some songs where Derek's vocal is a bit more prominent.
Pink
Pink
Salt,
Salt, yeah.
he's the main voice you hear.
But you're there too?
I'm quietly in the background on the verses, and then I do some oohs.
Oohs and ahs. Yeah. The witch component of Witch Watch, I think, is definitely quite prominent there. And also in the opening track, Invocation, which is, speaking of witches, I'm invoking witches, and whispers and screams, and we know that he's behind us in that song. So there's definitely a very kind of sinister, ominous vibe to that one.
Yeah.
That will be many people's first introduction to Witch Watch, because it's the opening track on the record.
Scare him off.
Yeah, he's behind you. What does Invocation reveal about the band? I think it's a really well selected opening track for the record. I think it's a great introduction to the band. I think the ominous sense, not knowing what's going to happen.
Right, like what's around the corner. You know? I think it's a good introduction to Witch Watch. It covers, a lot of territory, I guess. Like it's a pretty vibey song, there's a lot to chew on. And the way it just leaves you hanging too, you don't really ever figure out what's right behind you.
Right. Yeah. Just checking. So we've established that the title track isn't on the record. There is a song called Wondering and Wondering, but it's not on the record. But there is a song called Witches Woods. So that's the closest that we get. There we're not wondering what's behind us. We're looking at a body that has fallen from a tree and made all of the boys pee. Yeah. Which almost, but not quite, stops us from enjoying some hot toddies. Are there witches in that song? Has Derek spoken with you about the significance of witches?
We haven't really talked about it. I know he's very fascinated by witches, it seems.
Yeah.
Always sending me weird videos, which I thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah. In your interpretation, is this a dead body that's fallen from the trees?
I like to think yes.
Yes.
I don't know how Derek feels about it. But
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So speaking of, from all the girls being called Benji, now all of the boys pee.
Yes.
Right.
And
Well, a dead body did just fall from
yeah,
the
exactly.
tree.
Yeah, so I like to think it's a dead body too.
There may or may not be a witch involved.
Yeah.
Well,
There are some woods.
Scary stuff.
Yeah.
the witch was lonely. That's kind of a haunting line there.
Yeah.
I guess that witch was lonely.
So this does reference a witch.
It
There's
does.
one song on the record, at least, that references a witch.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the witch was lonely.
A lonely witch.
Yes.
As we established before, there's quite a breadth of songs. 2/5 or Insect Funeral. They're the ones where the rhythm section is
Right.
really driving, and but then there are others where it's just a duo.
At one point, it was just, Derek and I working on all these songs, so it's been really fun hearing how the songs transform when you have the whole band there. It's really fun.
Yeah, stuff will shift around. And,
For sure.
we'll put our own spin on some of these things, but
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to tell where we're going right now.
Speaking of spinning and where we're going right now, shall we play musical chairs?
Sure.
Let's have a different configuration
Sure.
of people.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe if you stay here, we could get Derek,
yeah.
and then we could have a rhythm section.
Okay,
together.
cool. I'm into it.
Nice. Does that suit you? That's fine. Yeah, cool.
I guess that beach was lonely.